But either way, man, fans are talking, fans are excited. People have got to be happy inside of WWE. And what's interesting is, and I'm not saying that we're going to spend any time talking about politics on this show. Lord knows that's not my thing. And I know nobody listening wants to hear that. But The Rock actually came out and responded to some criticism that was misplaced, where I guess someone's accused him of being booed at this public event over some backlash over a political matter, when in reality, he had to quote tweet it and correct it and say, actually, in wrestling, we call this turning heel. And the idea that The Rock, this beloved superstar that everyone loved, and they're actually going to lean into that heel persona for a little while, I really like, and I think that it was the right call. And I'm anxious to see where the story goes. I caught a little bit of shrapnel on Twitter over the weekend, because when they showed the whole bloodline organization, the family tree, if you will, they had their real names and they had their titles, and they showed on the graphic that The Rock was known as High Chief. And someone asked, when the hell did The Rock become High Chief? And I quote tweeted it and said, yesterday afternoon. And people just jumped on me saying, oh no, Dwayne Johnson became this in 04. Dwayne Johnson became this in 11. Not arguing any of that. That wasn't the question. The question was, when did The Rock? You see, The Rock, boys and girls, is a fictional wrestling character. Dwayne Johnson has a driver's license. The Rock does not. I hope that makes sense. But this is the first time on WWE program that I can recall, and I have yet to see anybody correct this, where he was referred to as High Chief. And I just think that's interesting, because forever and ever, we've heard Roman Reigns during this bloodline story be referred to as our tribal chief and the head of the table. So since we've made that designation now that The Rock is High Chief, which I don't think has ever been used before, it makes me think, Eric, if I was a betting man, we still get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. That's my call. What say you?
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. That's a fascinating thing about where we are right now in the arc leading into WrestleMania. And while we have 17 episodes, I'm going to refer to them as chapters.
There you go.
Because if we're writing a book, we have 17 chapters to evolve and develop the story. A lot of time, and I agree with you, I think there's something more at play behind the scenes that will be revealed in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. And I can't call it. I'm not even wasting a lot of my time trying to think about the different options or combinations.
Right.
I'm just not, because there's so many of them. You
get lost.
You screw yourself into a rabbit hole you can't unscrew yourself out of. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying it and trying to pay attention to some of the smaller details that I see, like the one that you just pointed out, to try to anticipate where it's going and to appreciate. I know I sound like I'm bending over backwards to put over creative, but I'm really interested to see what creative has in store for us.
Yes.
Because let's be honest, this situation, let's assume Dave Meltzer's reporting is accurate. This goes back to January 3rd. All of the things that have happened in WWE that we all know about, we don't need to spend a lot of time talking about it. We all know it. This is all of those issues where WWE was blindsided by a lot of it. They may have anticipated some of what unfolded with regard to Vince McMahon and the civil complaint, and we have a federal situation looming. I'm sure WWE, I would imagine WWE was well aware that something could happen. The fact that so much happened so fast and the timing of it had to leave WWE Creative kind of on their back foot and on their heels, so to speak. They had to react. They did. Now let's see, knowing what's on the table, having experienced the fan backlash that I do believe they underestimated. I really do. And now that they know, let's see what creative is all about. And there's so much to work with. that I can't help excited about.
Same, man. I'm looking forward to it. I am excited for WrestleMania. I mean, I've got people who are in the business, who never talked to me about current wrestling stuff, who just out of the blue texted me and said, "Man, I'm so excited for all this WrestleMania stuff." People are invested in the story, and I am too. I can't wait to see where it shakes out. I want to remind everybody that even though they did announce the match between Cody and Roman, and they said that, that was what Cody selected, and that was the world title, and that was the main event. There are two main events. They have been careful not to say that that is the night two main event. They just said it's a main event.
And I apologize for interrupting you. You mentioned, you stated, I think we're going to see Rock and Roman. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said it on the podcast or if we touched on it during our live coverage of the quote unquote press conference. But if we want to get Cody, if WWE wants to get Cody over, if they want him to be the face of the company and to be that aspirational / inspirational character that Cody can absolutely carry that role, be the face of WWE. What better way to satisfy the audience and put Cody in a position where he is unquestionably the face of the company without any controversy or bullshit? What if Rock beats Roman? And then night two, take that back. What if Roman beats Rock? Because Rock doesn't need the win to be with the Rock.
Right. That's right.
Rock can be just as, in fact, I'll argue passionately, Rock would be more powerful if somehow Roman is able to defeat him as a heel and really turn up the heat, real heat. Somehow, I don't know how they would do that, but let Roman beat Rock and let Cody beat Roman. I mean, that's a King of the Mountain game that it would put Cody in such an undeniable position as it relates to finishing his story and also being the face of the company. And it sets up so many stories going forward. That's what I hope happens. I am not making a prediction because I said there's so many great combinations of options, story, that anything can happen. Isn't that what makes wrestling so much fun at the end of the day?
Yes.
The sense that you don't know what's going to happen. And the reason you don't know is because there's so many variables on the table that all make sense. And I think once Brian, because let's face it, I don't think Brian works, and I've worked with Brian a lot. I've gotten to know Brian, and it's not like we hang out and have dinner and all that, but I think once Brian settles into the position he's in, gets caught up, because it's been said, I doubt that Brian sat around and watched a lot of Raw or a lot of SmackDown leading into this situation, but he's going to get up to speed. And Brian is not only he's a creative animal.
Yes.
Very, very creative, but he understands story structure, understands arcs, and he's a very level-headed dude. He's unflappable under pressure. I'm really anxious to see what Brian's influence is going to have and an already amazing creative team. I think when all this comes together, Triple H has proven, Paul Levesque has proven for the last 6 months, 12 months, that he's got a handle on creative. I think the creative team is responding much better in so many ways under Paul Levesque's leadership, and Bruce's, by the way. That once Brian settles in, they have a chance to gel a little bit and develop a rhythm and a pattern in terms of how they approach creative. I think we're in store for some really exciting creative.